This custom episode of Family Trips is made possible by Airbnb. Hi, Poshy.
Hi, Sufi.
Hi, Yeri.
Hey, Sufi.
Hi, Hurry.
Hi, Sufi. Hi, Poshy.
Hi, Flashy.
Hi, Daddy Boy. Hi, Harry.
Yep, everybody, if you can guess by the well-rehearsed intros, it is the Meyers family episode. We are in Pittsburgh. We will be attending a Pittsburgh Steelers-Baltimore Ravens game. So again, you are in the future. You know how it went. What matters most is that we were together, but it will be a lot better if the Steelers had won.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yes, for sure. It's so exciting.
Last year was a disaster.
Yeah.
And this year we're very hopeful. I also want to say real quick, because it's very nice. It feels very homey. It feels a lot like our youth right now. I am lying in repose. Would you describe my position as repose, Hurry?
Supine?
Supine?
Are you in a supine position?
I'm on a very comfortable couch in our Airbnb. Poshy's on the couch. Mom and Dad are at nice chairs.
Yeah. This couch is similar to the couch I used to have. And Mom and Dad getting out of this couch because it's so low is it's kind of fun to watch, but it's also like...
Yeah, we have had to build about an extra 10 minutes into our departure time if they're on the couch.
It's like a beanbag chair. They're not friendly to older people.
Yeah, but we're very comfortable.
We're very comfortable.
As long as you're comfortable, we're happy.
Thank you, Daddy
We
boy.
did have to buy you a new couch, however.
You did.
When we came to visit you, we couldn't enjoy Los Angeles because we had to spend so much time getting up and down out of the couch.
Yeah, and it is, it's almost, the holidays are almost upon us as this is airing, and you guys are going to be coming to my house for Christmas this year, and it'll be your first time seeing the new couch.
Oh, that's right.
And experiencing the new couch.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll probably do a special episode just on the reveal of them seeing the couch. If you right now are hearing this and you're very sad that you won't be there for it, don't worry, we'll get it on tape. I also want to say, because we're about to spend time with our listeners' favorite guests, which are our parents, we use the Airbnb guest favorites feature to find this place, and it truly is wonderful. That means basically it's one of the places in the area that people have reviewed the best.
Yeah. And it's, we've got 3 stories, 5 bedrooms. Mom, you almost went to your own bedroom.
I did, because when Daddy has to stay up later than me, he keeps on his iPad, and I can't sleep with that bright light. So I thought, maybe I'll just go in another bedroom. They're available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
But the best thing is the shower is gigantic, and you could actually take a shower with an elephant at the same
Really
time,
great.
and it's a torrent of water. Niagara Falls has nothing on this shower.
There's 2 actual sides to the shower in there, and Mom, you went to the side that wasn't.
It's not so confusing. Daddy turns a million dials to get a shower.
But you said you turned on one dial and then you turned on the other one, and it just shot straight out at the wall.
Yeah, those kind of things that you pull and spray yourself. What do they call those?
I think they're called handheld because you hold
I
it.
will say, when I know you're about to go take a shower in a bathroom you've never been in before,
Yeah.
I am not brimming with confidence.
No.
I would say
Usually-
you're a one dial lady. If there's a second dial.
Oh, it's bad. It is bad. I'll admit
You're one
to
of those
that.
people, sometimes in a movie, there's only one person to land the plane and they have to talk with someone at air traffic control. I think
Talk them down. They have to talk
them
them
down. I think if within a few seconds of talking to Hurry, they would say like, well, make peace with your God.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm not good at that.
And let me just say, I think what's great as well is there is a sink here that has been an incredible receptacle for all of your coffee mugs and bowls.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you all for not making the extra step and putting them in the dishwasher.
Hurry is the best at that.
This is a Hurry thing.
I get up in the morning first, and I make sure every night that the kitchen is completely spotless because I hate to get up and have anything in the kitchen. And then I eat my breakfast and I put everything away, and then Hillary's usually upstairs doing a puzzle or something. Then she comes down and she'll bring her coffee cup and she'll put it on the counter, literally right on top of the dishwasher. She will never open the dishwasher and put it in. It drives me crazy.
He has so little to do. I want to give him another thing.
Oh, this is, I guess, see, this is you're incentivizing him.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Now, I don't want to bust on you, Mom,
Yeah.
but I feel like I want to get feedback from our listeners about this, which is I came yesterday. I told you guys exactly what time I would get here.
Right.
You all said great. None of you said we won't be there,
Right.
which I thought was an interesting choice you all made because then I got here and nobody was here.
Well, you go ahead, finish.
Okay. Well, then I got here and you guys gave me the code and I came in. It was all lovely. And then you came in a hurry. And again, I was pretty hungry because, I got in around 2. So,
Lunch.
I hadn't had lunch. And you came in with a brown bag and you said, oh, I got you the most yummy lunch. And, we're in the Berg. And I was thinking, what could it be? Is it a nice, an Italian sandwich? I was so excited. And Pashi, what was it? Or do you want to say her?
It was linguine and clams.
It was half of her
Half
order
a
of
linguine and clams. And I was taken aback because it's such a bold thing to think someone's in the mood for. Now, again, I love it as a dish when I order it. But
Sure.
I think I've never in my life wanted someone else's clams.
Or takeaway clams.
Takeaway clams, sometimes on eBay, one of the things it says is previously owned. That's how I feel about clams.
Even the guy that said, "Do you want me to wrap this up?" When she said yes, he rolled his eyes.
Yeah. Well, I did say because Mom, when she ordered it at the restaurant, did you also get linguine?
Yeah,
clams?
it was great, by the way.
I wanted to share or get a half order.
Right. Which the first thing she asked was, "Can I do a half order?" Which at a lunch place, it's like it's already like. I don't
It's an
know, it's like
insane question.
$25.
She asked a waiter, can I get a half
Yeah.
order?
Yes.
And so he said
Insane
no.
question.
That's insane. But is it more insane to ask the waiter or is it more insane to ask Dad if he'll want to split a linguine and clams?
They're both equally insane.
Yeah. Well, they were both asked. And
Mom,
my
I feel like Mom should kick in the door of a restaurant and just break into a song called I Eat Small Portions. It is so performative how much you want people to know how little you eat.
Yeah,
They can tell just by looking at my plate.
it's so irritating.
It's so irritating.
Oh, come on. You're irritated too?
I don't care for the fact that every time a plate of food gets put down at you at a restaurant, you go, oh, this is so much food. Because I'm about to clean my plate.
And the place that we eat the most at home, she always asks for a half portion.
And I always get it.
And she always gets it, but
The half portion is too much.
No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Go
they
ahead.
charge 3/4.
Ah,
They
that's what I
charge
get
3/4 just for the aggravation.
you. Yeah.
They would have charged you half, but they throw in another 25% for pure aggro.
By the way, I would be fine if they charged double. We'll give you a half portion. But we're also gonna the other half. We're gonna chuck half a thing of linguine and clams at your car as you drive away. So anyway, we are doing a cool giveaway, which is the first one of you to write the Family Trips account. I'll take the clams. We're gonna send it to you because I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah, we're gonna freeze it. We're
We're
gonna
gonna freeze it, and you can
It'll probably still be good.
and then you can thaw out these delicious clams.
We'll pack it in ice.
But I bear some responsibility because Mom seemed so put off by the notion that she couldn't get this half order. And I said, well, just bring the other half home and Seth will eat it. So
You did say that.
She was pretty convinced that I was right on the money there, but I just sort of wanted to get through the debate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was really. It was
the look on your face when I said linguine.
It was like if
clams.
you were like, I got it's lamb curry. It's such a big swing. It was so weird. All right. Well, I want to say real quick because I know one of the things we're going to get to here is Dad's rebuttals. We've talked a big game about how Dad has been listening to the intros to these family trips and has some things he would like to rebut. Before that, I feel like we should very quickly talk about Josh's wedding. Now,
Ooh.
Josh, you were upstairs in the shower, so you didn't hear this. Mom said it was bad and she wishes it hadn't happened.
Oh, I thought she was talking about your wedding.
Oh, right.
That's so long ago.
No, we had some good weddings.
Yeah.
It was a magical, magical day.
I will say, this is true of both you, Dad, and you, Mom. You were beaming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I feel like perhaps you were also beaming at my wedding and I was too distracted to see, but the level of beam on your faces for the absolute full 3 days was a joy to watch.
Oh, that's good. I thought I was, but that's good to hear. Thank you. Thank you. I like to beam. I beam a lot.
There were a lot of beaming.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pre-beaming, actually, too, because when Josh came from California, he stopped in New Hampshire and then rented a van and went down and picked up Mackenzie, and he had a lot of things that he had sent to the house, boxes and boxes of stuff, mostly for the lawn games that we played on Saturday afternoon. But part of the reason that he came was so that he and Mom could practice their mother-son dance. And it's interesting because right after the wedding, we went to New York and we saw the Broadway show MJ, which is all about them preparing for Michael Jackson's final tour.
Yep.
There was so much more preparation for Mom and you dancing.
What?
So much effort and discussion went. What do you think? I mean, you went back and forth for weeks about what you were going to dance.
I looked on YouTube for how to do the different dances, the pony, the mashed potato.
Real quick, just so our listeners know, we
was-
did Land of a Thousand Dances by Wilson Pickett.
Right.
And he calls out the dances, and
He does.
I felt like that was going to really help us.
Right.
Land of a Thousand Dances. I mean, if my only complaint, pretty cliche choice for first mom son dance. Who among us hasn't been at 2 7 weddings where someone's done
This
land?
one says, because Larry, your father's a pretty good dancer,
He is
and
a
I
good
will
dancer.
acknowledge
Pretty
that
good,
I'm
pretty
not.
good. It doesn't do
Oh,
it justice.
I
But
can't
go
believe you
ahead.
got the compliment from her.
And then he's
the rarest of things just happened, and it wasn't enough for you.
No,
No,
it wasn't.
nothing's enough
Oh
for him.
my God.
So anyhow, I said to him, I
You're
said,
like a guy in the desert who hasn't had a glass of water for a week, and they bring it over, and you're like, salty.
It's warm.
It's
he
warm.
says to me, I said, do you think you could help me with the mashed potato or whatever? I think it's like this. And he said, you're unteachable.
Well, that's not helpful.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
Certainly on the eve of your son's wedding.
Then Joshy came, and Joshy could teach me.
And you guys were very good.
No,
I thought we were too. And the good thing was it was only a minute. It was a little over a minute. That was my goal, to not go over a minute.
It was the longest minute of the weekend. And the other thing, though, that worked out, it actually did work out great. And the other thing that worked out really good, I don't know what you thought, Hill, but I generally don't like children at weddings. And Seth's kids were there, and a couple of Mackenzie's nieces and nephews were there, and they were great.
They were great.
Yeah.
They got tired at the appropriate time and didn't stay for the whole party, which gets the part that gets me is I've been to weddings where the kids will dominate the dance floor like the whole night, and people keep saying, "Oh, he's so cute, he's so," and I feel like saying, "Just take that child home."
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but these were our children. These were our
I think
grandchildren.
that's, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I was loath to even have kids. The way you do talk about them.
Yeah, the 2 younger ones went to bed, but Ash, who's 8 years old, he made it through the whole thing, and he came out, and he's kind of shy normally, and he came out, and he was dancing with us, and he was having the best time. He didn't do it for too long,
No,
Yeah.
I think it was
but
just one
he
dance.
was great.
Yeah.
And compared to the Land of a Thousand Dances, he was so much better.
We crushed our Land of a
We
Thousand
crushed it. People loved it.
I thought my grandson was better.
I've told everybody on this podcast this, but we went to Ash's parent-teacher conference, and his teacher said to us, he seems a lot more relaxed after the wedding. And we were taken aback and said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "I think he had a lot of anxiety about the tasks he had at the wedding. And I think he really appreciated, because he knew there weren't a lot of kids there,
Right.
that we were sort of asking them to be their best, most mature selves. And they really all were so very wonderful."
Yeah. Also, his task was to bring a ring box.
And he did very good.
Yeah.
But just a segue from the wedding to the fact that this was supposed to be a rebuttal episode. You guys talked about the speeches at the wedding on some of the podcasts, and they were really, really good. Mom did a reading
Yeah.
at
Beautiful.
the actual ceremony that was lovely. And Mackenzie's dad was very good. Her mom was extremely good, and her friend Julia spoke. And the other 2 speakers were Seth and I.
Yeah.
And I went to a lot of trouble because when Seth got married, I gave a speech at your wedding that when I finished was, I would say by the group, universally lauded as the best wedding speech anybody had ever heard. That included the staff who was there, had been to hundreds of weddings and said they'd never seen better. And then you got up, Josh, and you gave a speech, and nobody could remember who I was. So what I thought is Seth's going to speak after me, and so I really have to put in an effort. Now, I will say in one of the pods, you said you appreciated the effort because my speech was to talk about your Hollywood romance, but I interspersed musical cues.
Yeah.
Throughout. I worked with the DJ in advance. We had snippets of different musical cues. So I went to a lot of effort to do it.
Hours.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
And while you said you appreciated, I have to say I thought that and Seth did a good job, but I didn't think there was enough enthusiasm for my speech.
From me or just from the people at large?
No, from you two. I mean, I think he said really nice things on the pod about Mackenzie's mom, Linda.
Yeah.
He said good things about Seth. And it wasn't that you didn't say nice things. There was just no enthusiasm. I thought the enthusiasm should have been much greater.
You know what?
And it was to the point that I just wish I had another child so we could do it again.
Right. Well, you know what? We would never do this, but we'd love another run at it. And then we'll just cut this into a previous episode. So for anybody who goes back. And then, oh my God, Daddy Boy. What a speech.
Oh, I mean, just crushed it. Worked with the DJ.
For hours.
Had music cues.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And just, it was about a Hollywood romance. And it was just, it just threaded your whole life.
It was, yeah. I mean, you could tell the care and the thought he put into it. And it was, yeah. I mean, Mackenzie's still talking about it.
And you know what? I thought by the time he was done, I was like, everybody else stinks.
Well, that's so much better. That's so much better. But the enthusiasm issue was not limited to that. On some of the podcast stuff.
Are we into the rebuttals now? Are you rebutting us?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
that was a segue.
And this wedding bullshit. That's fine. So
we're done talking about the wedding.
Well, may I just say that Mackenzie was the most beautiful bride, the most beautiful wedding gown, the little dress she had on afterwards for dancing. She was so adorable.
I would love to hear all about that, but we have transitioned into the rebuttal.
Yeah,
of course. Okay, let him rebut.
Also for the listeners, I should point out that my father has pages in front of him that he's laid out. And I feel like his foot has been tapping faster and faster since we started. So
he's like a guy who knew today was the day he was taking the stand in his own defense at a murder trial. Very small font.
Another time, Seth, you talked about us visiting you, and and you always say, "Oh, Josh, Mom and Dad were down," and it doesn't seem too enthusiastic when you talk about it.
Wait, is this a rebuttal on facts or just a lack of enthusiasm?
This is a lack of enthusiasm. I think that when you're going to talk about Mom and Dad, I mean, I just think you should be more enthusiastic about the fact that that we showed up or that you came to the house or whatever.
You're thirsty for enthusiasm.
Okay, it's understood.
And then, like, you even complained one time. You said that, Mom and Dad come down and then they ask so many questions about what are we going to do next? What are we doing next? They just ask one question after another. And the reason for that is when we go to Josh's house, he has on note cards laid out on a table all the possible things we can do and all the orders that we can do it and when we can do it and stuff like that. Seth just doesn't put in the effort.
Are you? Do your 3 kids knock the note cards off the table?
They do. They like a schedule. Mom and Dad like a schedule.
Mom and Dad like a schedule.
Dad in particular.
And Dad was very good. I think I've. And I do want to make sure I tell this story with the requisite enthusiasm now that I know that's been a lacking piece. But I always remember that Dad was very good. When we would go on vacation, he would draw big pictures of things we could do. I remember famously once there was a 4-quadrant drawing and he had drawn the bones of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And he said we could go to a museum and see this. I think we were in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
There was maybe a drawing of the Washington Monument. And then he drew a drawing of Darth Vader. And he said there's also a new Star Wars movie. We're like, oh, I want to definitely do that. Oh, by the way, enthusiasm. I have talked to the boys, and you will not be with us, Josh, for Thanksgiving. But I think that weekend it's time to watch Star Wars with the boys.
Oh, that's great.
And I've asked they've wanted to do it, and I want to wait for you guys to watch it with them.
We don't have the rights to that.
We don't have the rights to that. But I was when she said, I have a question for Dad and Josh. When she said da da, did you think she would actually get it right?
I was worried about it.
I was worried too, and she got it right.
I was definitely worried about it.
I was like, oh, I'm excited to see what this is going to be. And it was right. Okay, Dad likes a plan. I will make sure.
I don't care about a plan.
Yeah.
No.
I'm easy.
Whether
Unlike
there's
somebody
a plan
else in
or
this
not,
room.
you're going to ask questions.
Yeah.
Well, I have questions.
Yeah.
Oh, you have questions. Ooh. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have more to rebut, I think, Dad, based on.
That was a very small rebuttal. Have you got something with any kind of guts
We
there?
can't. And just before you even think of it, we're not going to do like a rebuttal episode about how Mom rebutted your rebuttals.
Yeah.
It ends here.
Well, I'll give you another one a couple different times.
Okay.
At least 3 occasions, actually. You kind of diss our house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You diss our house. I mean, you talked about our living room.
Uh-huh.
You described the furniture as old and lumpy. And then on another episode, you said that it's
Covered
a room
in
full
dog.
of animal dander. That
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
other thing you said.
Very
and
excited.
actually, you made it sound like the house in Grey Gardens, that there would be like a mannequin with a head half broken off and an eye hanging out and like from a horror movie set.
It would be insane to have a mannequin because that would scare people when they came in. All you guys have is a giant cardboard cutout of Josh.
Oh, Josh, yes.
I love you guys are talking like we're not psychos. We're lunatics. Wait. He's not done. I'm sorry. I cut him off.
Okay.
Keep going.
No, I'm just saying you dissed that. And another time, this is just you, Seth, is that you came home for a night. Now you're never in New Hampshire actually, because you've got all the other responsibilities with your kids and so forth. But you were in, and you complained about the pillows in your room.
Yeah.
And your bed. Now we have other bedrooms. They're full of pillows. There's pillows all over the place. But you complained about them because we put the worst pillows in your room because you're never there.
Okay.
But you could have gotten another pillow. And even Josh pointed out that you could have gotten another pillow.
Yeah.
So you didn't like your bedroom. You talked about the living room. And I think you're dissing a house. I just want, the listening public to understand that we don't live in an old mansion from a horror movie.
We live in a beautiful house.
It is a beautiful house.
And our living room has furniture, antique furniture from my mother. It looks like an English drawing room.
It looks like an English drawing room. I think that is very accurate. But I will also say the living room, save for Christmas Day, we almost never spent a second in.
That's true. But I notice I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Albert VI spends a lot of time in
Albert
there on the
does.
couch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking out the front window.
So we said the living room couch was old and lumpy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know because we haven't been
We
in
don't-
there.
you don't
in
sit on
so
it.
I would
many
just
years.
say, based on the antiqueness of it, I think it's safe to assume there's some lumpiness to those
It might
couches.
be a little.
I
There's
don't
no
feel like
lumpiness.
that's necessarily, I think,
That's a diss if you were going to say it's not an insult. Lumpy associated with a couch is not a positive.
I would say just in my defense, I'm guessing Sufi called it lumpy,
yeah.
and I'm
Oh,
guessing
it was-
Sufi said animal dander.
Yes.
I don't think those are words that would come out of my
No.
mouth.
No,
No.
we're dissing him.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure. For sure. You're the good son.
Again, not breaking news to our listeners.
And just talking about the good son, while we're dissing you, is this isn't something that's come up in the podcast, but Josh is a very, very thoughtful gift giver.
Yes.
You like are at Josh's and you walk by a window in a store and you see something, that's a really bizarre little thing, and then 8 months later you get it in a box, and I remember you're less so. I think so.
I don't think I am at all.
That's less so in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
extreme. Yeah.
I
You
was
were
just
being
saying,
nice about it.
You were being nice.
I
But
was being nice about it. I was going to throw this in that we were at with you and your family Christmas a few years ago, and for Christmas gift you gave Mom a official U.S. Olympic running suit that was clearly swag from NBC that you got for nothing,
100%.
which would be something that Mom would not wear in a million years. And I think you gave it away
Yeah.
to a homeless guy. Was it a homeless guy that we saw?
You might have eBayed it.
Yeah. But so anyway, Josh is a very thoughtful gift giver.
Josh is a very thoughtful gift giver. An example is every year we go to the Steelers game and you have to, they have a rule about your purses, right?
You have to have a clear bag if you want to bring anything in. If you have like an opaque, which every purse pretty much is opaque, then you have to dump everything into a clear bag, including your purse, but you have to dump everything out.
And so this year, Josh got you a brand new see-through purse. Steelers colors, no less.
Yeah. I actually got it for her last year, and she remembered to bring it this year, which I was thrilled
Amazing.
to see. Yeah.
So that's great. Look at us.
Yeah.
It is great. We're ready to go.
And just because we are in Pittsburgh and, talking about the Steelers, there was another situation where I'm not sure if one or both of you were talking about, I think it was you, Seth, because you were saying because you and I are particularly crazy about the Steelers. And, we talked about it a little bit at dinner last night, that how it ruins our week if they lose. And and Josh was showing people pictures from last year where we got crushed by the Cardinals when we were here, that with me with a hood pulled completely over my head and so that I couldn't see anything. But you seem to say, well, I'm not sure that I want my kids to become as crazy as we are about the Steelers, as if it was a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Being passionate about a sports team, it's completely pointless, and it's the best. Absolutely.
I mean, I have no regrets about it.
Yeah.
I think so long as you don't make people around you uncomfortable, it can be a great thing.
Yeah.
But if you can't shake it off and then be pleasant to be around, I don't know.
Yeah. We did shake it off last year, I should say. That was our best shake it off.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We had a fantastic dinner afterwards. And
it just went away. But you're right. And this nonsense of I can't read the paper all week and,
For me, though, it is like, because I do think I'm in concert with Daddy Boy on this. I love listening to every piece of football detritus I can get my hands on if the Steelers win.
Yeah, exactly.
So when the Steelers lose, I'm actually, it's almost also a small win because I'm not listening to every podcast out there.
Right.
It's not like he doesn't read the paper. He just doesn't read the sports page. And that's okay, too.
Yeah.
And one or both of you made a comment about how if I'm anywhere in the world and I see a guy in a Steeler hat, I stop what I'm doing and I go and talk to him. And that is a little bizarre, I have to admit, but I do it. And I remember one time we were in Hawaii, in the airport in Hawaii, and I saw this dude in shorts, high knee socks. He was older, in a Steeler hat, a Steeler shirt, And I walked over and talked to him, where are you from? What are you doing? What do you think the Steelers will do this year? I always think it's so much fun to do.
I love the Steelers too, but I think if you're wearing a Steeler hat and a Steeler jersey in Hawaii, you're such a jack-off. You are such a jack-off, man. What are you doing?
No doubt. No doubt. But that's my point.
I like to think that guy and his wife had a fight, and she's like, why are you wearing both of those? And he was like, this way people will know. Maybe someone will come up to me at the airport.
I met Larry Myers.
I'm at Larry Myers.
But, I think
now I got tickets to his son's show. He also gave me a Olympic running suit.
I thought you knew he was a jag-off when he had shorts and knee socks on. That was trying to make that point. Yeah, this guy was
who is already, right. It was like the rest of his fashion wasn't going to save it.
Yeah. The other thing, sometimes you talk about Mom and I as if we're the Bickersons. Okay,
ding, 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 ding.
Can I sign an affidavit confirming that?
One of the examples you gave was the fact that since we were talking about your terrible gifts, Seth, how we always hated one another's Christmas gifts.
Yes.
And whatever we would get, we would open it and talk about lack of enthusiasm. And we never liked it. So what we decided to do, because Harry's very clever, your mom's clever, we decided we would buy each our own gifts, and then we would open them and we would like them, and you guys would be impressed.
Yeah.
But we were, if memory serves, we were onto it immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
The
smarter
first year
than
you
we
did
were
it.
smarter than we gave you credit for.
Immediately, the fact that both of you liked your gifts.
Yeah.
But it was also like you were auditioning for people who opened a gift and liked it. It was like, open this box and be very happy about it, because you would play it off like it was given by the other one, and you'd like hold up a sweater and you'd go, oh, look at this.
Oh, Yuri.
Well,
isn't this a change of plan?
Remember the year he gave me a pink cowboy hat?
I do.
Yeah, they talked about that on the pod.
Yeah.
They
Have you
talked
already
about
talked
that.
about
that one is, burned into our memory.
And where exactly, Larry, am I going to wear this?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was back in like when the Garth Brooks days and the Brooks and Dunn days.
I think it was before all that. I was thinking maybe rodeo. No, you know what it was? It was that Mickey Gilley, that movie where people were line dancing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Urban Cowboy.
Urban
Cowboy, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
we had the record album.
It was in that era.
We used to play it, and I'd put the hat on.
It was in that era. So it wasn't a total loss.
It wasn't a total loss.
Yeah. But speaking of the Bickersons, Josh, we were, according to Josh, we were actually here in Pittsburgh at a Steeler game before we had this great option to stay at Airbnbs, which is so much better. I mean, we used to stay at a very nice hotel. But this is this is the second year we've done this, and it's so much better having a house. Yeah. But we were evidently, to Josh's mind, bickering about something, and he got up from the table, and he actually threw his napkin down.
Yep.
And left as if it was a flag, like an NFL game.
Yeah.
Which I think is okay, except then you have to make a call.
There's never any doubt what the call is.
You have to make a call, and roll your hands like illegal procedure, 10 yards, and mom or dad, it could be offensive interference, getting into the neutral zone, something like that. You should, if you're going to throw the flag, you got to make a call.
Well, if you were just yelling in a breakfast restaurant and your son stands up and throws a flag, maybe you think it's on you. Maybe you figure it out.
How would you know who was on?
You know what's funny is, there's sometimes those plays where, and it's like the latest hit you've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
And everybody throws flags, and the guy who did the hit looks up and puts his hands up like, me?
Yeah.
That's what that's
Yeah, that's
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Well, it's always the second guy.
Yeah, well.
It's like,
so you're the second guy.
I'm the second guy. But nobody
Yeah.
paid attention to what started it.
I'd say when you get hot and fired up, as your son, it's very difficult for me to say, hey, Dad, take it down a notch, because there's a lot of, I'm still your little boy. And so my solution there was to spike my napkin and go up to my room.
Which I thought was very effective.
Yeah, well, see.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they mentioned it, so
Yeah. Well, if you're still thinking about it, to me, that's exceeded.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
I remember the waiter ran over afterwards. He's like, hey, man, these napkins are fragile.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing that people don't do at Airbnbs.
Right.
Hoity-toity.
Yeah, we've been throwing napkins all over this place.
now there's things like that you say, that you don't feel comfortable saying. But here's a thing that you do feel comfortable saying, that we think you're right.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
That we think you're right. And that is, and I would say this as a note to your guests on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
That you try to keep people talking about family trips. And sometimes your brother gives you a little bit of criticism for that.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And nobody but Seth ever complains that you're trying to keep people back on family trips. So I'm saying, again,
I mean, nobody. Who else are you talking to about the podcast?
everybody.
Comments support me.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but given the fact that this is a rebuttal episode, pass this on to your future guests if they ever listen to this.
Yeah.
Stay on the trips, dude.
Yeah. I try to stay on the trips, and then I feel like very early on in episodes sometimes you'll be like, and so where do you go with your kids now? And it's like, no, keep them when they're little.
And the trips are so entertaining. So entertaining.
But I would take trips when they were young, or if they have children today, talking about that. I think that's fair.
I think sometimes we turn Sufi will turn the page to get to now that you're an adult and you've got kids. Where do you guys go? And I feel like there's more.
I turned the page too fast. Okay.
Yeah, and then one of the things, though, just again from the episodes, the listener episodes are great because they're all trips.
Yeah.
You know, they're all about trips, and that's just so the listeners know. We still expect those to be good stories.
Okay.
Okay, you don't get a pass. You know, don't call it. Send in, speak pipe some bad trip, but some of the trips that they have had are so good and so unique.
They're delightful.
They're great. They're just great.
And it's also, I think it's hard for guests sometimes to come up with to fill an episode of 5 great trip stories. That's where the listeners have sort of an ace in the hole to.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's not. I mean, all of these people that you have on the show have busy lives, and there's other demands on their time, and so I guess if they want to come on, I think it would be better to say, do you have any trips? If not, do something else. But yeah, I'm sure it's not that easy to get their attention and their time. But there's been a couple pods. I won't mention who the guests were. You say, well, tell me about your family trips. They say, and the first thing they said is, we never went on any.
Yeah.
That's going to be a rough hour. So.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, we've
like
found our way through.
I like trying to get there. It's fun to unlock that.
Hurry, do you have any rebuttal things you want to talk about here?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I do want to get some more mic time for Hurry, but how are you doing on your rebuttals over here?
There's over 100 pods. Is that right? Or close to 100?
No, I don't think we're there yet.
We're getting there, though.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I only went back and re-listened to double speed from last year when we were here to now.
Okay.
So you get a pass on the first year because you were just rookies.
Great.
And so no, I'm pretty much rebutted out.
All right. Well, thank you for your rebuttals. Thank you for the work you put into this. This is really fantastic.
A little more enthuzation. More enthusiasm.
Hey, whoa. I wasn't looking forward to that, but it was real good.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get back to the wedding speech. A little more enthusiasm.
Fun.
I'm sure the listeners love
I am
this.
shitty at gifts. So, Pashi, do you want me to fire off the questions, or do you want to fire?
Well, I had one that we've got some questions from listeners, but also I just thought of one that's a trip-based thing. Have you ever taken a trip? It could have been with us or not with us. A trip that you took that you wish you didn't take.
Oh, goodness.
I have one for you, Posh.
Yeah,
I think
that I took.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Thailand.
Yeah, if it would be one, it would be Thailand.
Right.
But there's also something about how wrong it went that had I not gone, I wouldn't have had that experience. And part of me is happy that I had the experience, even though it was terrible. Just awful. Because I got ripped off and I got sunburnt and I got sick. And
the reports back of that trip did not move Thailand to the top of my list.
No. And I'm sure Thailand is great if you do it well. I did it alone, post a breakup, young, no planning. And when I went to the airport, I was so excited when I was flying to Thailand. I was so excited, and it couldn't have gone more off the rails.
What about you guys?
I can't really think. I guess probably Las Vegas was the most recent one.
Oh, yeah,
because
you don't like Vegas.
I hate Vegas. And when I heard we were going to go there with, Larry's friends, and there was an option, there was a Northwestern alumni trip that I'd been looking forward to so much, a trip to Italy on one of those little river boats and areas I hadn't been to before, and it was the same weekend as Vegas.
Yeah.
And we get to Vegas, and everything about it gives me the shakes. It's just mobbed with people everywhere you go, and it was giving me a headache. And then I stopped at the little convenience place. I said, I'm going to grab some beers to take up to the room. I need to calm myself down.
Knock 6 of these
yeah,
back.
So I get into the room, and there's no there's no bottle opener. So I'm back down to
They were afraid you might hurt yourself.
I go back down to the convenience store, and they said, oh, we sell those here. You need to buy one. And I thought, well, this just takes the flipping cake.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Really.
The cake was taken. The flipping cake was taken.
And you guys have mentioned on this trip a couple times that you went to go see Cirque du Soleil's O on that trip, and everyone you were with fell asleep.
Yeah. We were up too late. We're not late people.
Yeah, they can't pump enough oxygen into those places to keep you guys awake.
I honestly see what you think, Hill, but I have another one that'll be a surprising destination. Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't like Hawaii either.
We went to Hawaii
Yeah.
and we went to Maui and we went to, no, we weren't
Kauai?
far from Lahaina and Kauai. Lanai, was it? Lanai or Kauai. I don't know, one of the others, one of those eyes. And
Took forever
and
to get
it was
there.
just it
Planes were a
took
hassle.
forever to get there, and it was fine, But
But the Caribbean is so much closer,
it's so
and
much
we love
convenient
that.
to go to the Caribbean. It's just as pretty, and the beaches are just as good. And so Hawaii was, and I'm sure that we didn't see it all. So there's much more of it than we saw, but it was not.
No,
it was
much
less
great
than
one.
I thought.
Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed.
When Alexi and I first started dating, I think it was the January we met that summer, and for New Year's. And again, we have been to Ireland. We had the best time. This is not an anti-Irish screed, but we went to Ireland, 4 couples for New Year's. And it was just the grayest, wettest. There was no joy in Mudville when we went. And we also stayed at a castle, which I was really excited about. And you realize the reason people no longer live in castles is a 1-bedroom apartment is nicer.
Yeah.
It was the dankest, everything about it. It was, I think, I shouldn't even say the name, but the name of the castle, my wife and I still talk about the curse of it because we couldn't sleep when we were there. And so if we ever have a bad night's sleep, we go, I think it's the ghost of the Irish
of that
castle. Yeah.
I remember you saying that everything was gray, like the castle, the weather, and the food was all the same hue, gray hue.
We were also driving around in an 8-person passenger van. And the people in the back were always screaming to the people in the front that they couldn't hear the conversation because it was just the loudest van.
Oh,
it was a lot of there was nothing about. And then it was also we were the newest couple of the 4, and we were the only one that ended up getting married.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got some questions from the listeners. I don't know if these are from last year, from this year, but it doesn't matter. But from Rich, who asks Larry and Hillary, why are the counters always wet?
First of all, Rich, that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. The counters are not always wet. And that was, I think this comes from the fact that Josh has one of those Senseo or some kind of coffee maker machine. They used to have one, and it.
Oh, I'd always pour the water in the wrong way.
And it was.
Well, that's one reason.
It was a function of that machine. It was
and
not
the Soda Stream, that sometimes splashes water all over you.
Yeah.
There's things that can happen on
That's
the
what
counter.
they say. That's not user error. Even the Soda Stream says sometimes this is just going to splash everywhere.
So, Rich, I just
They ought to have a cautionary tale thing written
I just want
on
to
it.
invite Rich to come to our house in New Hampshire anytime, day or night, and look at our counters. Dry as a bone, Rich. Dry. Always dry.
Very good. Courtney asks, what are your family's favorite board games and who is a sore loser?
Ooh, board games.
We just played, for
We
the first
did.
time, we just played Quicks, Q-U-I-X-X.
Oh, yeah, that's a dice game. That's not really a board game.
Yeah, very
It's a
fun.
box
Okay,
game.
okay.
Code
yeah.
names.
Oh, code names.
We like code names. Code names good for a group.
It is
Yeah.
good for a group.
Quick and easy to learn.
Yeah. Also amazing that Mom was like, "That's not a board game," and then immediately said one that is also not a board game.
And what's the
Camel
one-
Cup.
Yes, the Camel Cup for sure. But we've been playing with about going to space, and you have
Yeah.
Oh.
The Crew.
The Crew. We
Crew.
love
Crew
the
is a
Crew.
great game.
Card game.
Crew,
where you
That's
play together.
one of the best games ever,
Yeah.
most
That's
clever
a great
games
game.
ever.
What was the tile game that was a big hit?
Oh,
a
we
few years
like
ago?
that.
Azul.
Azul.
Azul?
And then there was what was the wall game? Alhambra? Am I making that up?
Alhambra.
No,
Those are-
Alhambra.
Those are great
also.
games as
Yeah.
well. Azul and Alhambra.
I would put the Crew. There's 2 versions of it, and
We've played that the most.
well, the thing about the Crew is there's things that are called. It's a card game where it's a game where you
It's cooperative.
cooperative. You play together. You're not trying to beat one another. You're trying to play together to accomplish a
That's
particular
what the
thing.
word cooperative would mean.
That was a
Yeah, that said it all right there.
That's the-
One
one would say that's the
didn't
root
he say
word
co-
of
he
it.
said
That's the root
he
word.
said collaborative,
Oh,
right?
No, I said cooperative.
And but anyway, it's a game where each of these trying to accomplish each of these tasks is called a mission. And if the 4 of us were playing together, we would be a crew.
Yeah.
And then if we would play with some other people, that would be a different crew. But for each individual crew, like the 4 of us say, we would play until we could accomplish 50 missions. And we started the game actually in Ireland.
Yep.
With
Josh, you and I. and then
we've
Seth
just
came
completed
later,
our
and we started, and it took us, because we're not together that often,
right.
so it took us a year to finish.
But our mission is we have completed the mission.
We completed all 50 missions,
and
it
sore
was
losers,
really fun.
I don't want anybody to bring me up in that department.
I don't think anyone here is a sore loser when it comes to board games.
No.
I think that there, though, from I think what outsiders would observe
Yes.
is we're a little impatient with people who are maybe playing wrong or don't grasp it right away. This is maybe a note that I've heard.
Yeah.
That make like so we're not the reason that we're maybe we don't look like the best bunch to play with is not that we're poor losers.
Right.
Because I would think in fact what we are is incredibly fair
Yeah.
to the point of being less joyous to game it up with. But we're very frustrated when people play badly.
Yeah, if you play badly and if you cheat, then you could leave.
But I don't think anybody in this group cheats.
No, that's what I'm saying. But somebody else will come and then maybe they'll say, "Oh, I thought you could say a word."
Right.
If it's code words, code names, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say within this four of us, if the point you're making about sometimes we're a little bit terse or something with people that are not sort of grasping things, I would hearken back to the shower story earlier in this episode about who could figure out how to turn on the shower.
Right.
So you could guess who we might be a little bit short with.
Well, there is Crew, it's a strategy game. So I think somebody maybe, if they were watching us play Crew, they would see a lot of what were you thinking? But what did you think was going to happen? But that is sort of our love language.
But that's going back to old school. And so, we started when you were children and playing hearts, and Josh and I were always partners. You and Mom were always partners, and there was a lot of that. What were you thinking? For that, and there still is.
There still is.
There still is.
You know what? A game I remember that I actually don't think is a good game, but I do want to talk about real quick is Goat's Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
which was Tego.
Yeah,
and it was you were either the goats or the tigers. And it was a very fun game. And I remember they were like sort of heavy metal pieces, which was fun.
Yeah.
But I remember Dad used to say goats rule because he always felt whoever were the goats were the advantage.
Yeah, because there were a lot of goats and there were two tigers.
Yeah.
I think.
And he always would say, that was what he called it. Should we play goats rule?
And also, great satisfying pieces in that game. For Larry and Hillary, Meredith asks, what is your favorite Christmas morning memory from when the boys were little?
Oh gosh.
We sort of had a routine. I mean, that was always the same.
All of them. I mean, there was a script that played out. We'd have something to eat first, and then you'd start with your stockings, and then we'd go into the living room and open one at a time, and thank you for this, thank you, BB, thank you, Grandma, thank you, Addie. It was, and it wound up taking, we'd be in there for an hour.
Taking a long time. Yeah, it was. You'd always make French toast.
Yep.
And the kids would come down earlier, and there were stockings, and then they would both. The stocking stuff was really nonsense.
Yeah, it was like erasers.
And then they would go.
And everybody got you each got
then
the
you would
same
open
thing.
them, you would have like a race, and you'd open them, rip them apart as fast as you could, and everything else.
Things like stamps. I remember one year I gave you stamps.
Great.
Great gift.
Lottery tickets.
Lottery tickets.
Scratch-off tickets.
Scratch-off lottery tickets. Yeah. But I do remember one incident, but it was great because we would go in the living room, like you pointed out. We would have the Christmas tree in there. We'd have a fire, and we would really take our time. It would take a long time to open all the gifts one at a time. But there was one year we talked about the pink cowboy hat as probably being a miss. But Seth gave Hillary a thing that looked like a glass dome.
It was like a goldfish bowl.
It was a giant glass
jar.
Oh,
that's right. Yes.
Like a glass jar, and it was rounded on top, and it had a fish.
Yeah.
Yarn fish.
A yarn fish hanging in it, and the yarn fish was brown.
It had been in Time Out New York as one of the best 20 gifts to get in New York City. And again, I'm bad at gifts, but I like the idea of getting a good gift. So I would often...
And a unique gift.
Yeah, and so I'd often read a list, and I went to that store, and the picture in Time Out New York when I'd read it was a beautiful blue fish, but when I went, the last one they had was brown. And I remember thinking, that's still good. And I was wrong.
Yeah, it looked like literally a piece of shit hanging in it.
You laughed so hard, Dad.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Because again, historically, Mom will pretend to like anything that comes from our boys. But even this was a bridge too far for her.
Oh, yeah.
Her face was just contorted. I would imagine it was the same face I made when you said, "Who wants leftover clams?" Where I just couldn't process it, and you couldn't process it, and Dad was laughing so hard he was crying.
Yeah.
He was crying, laughing.
Yeah. So that was a Christmas morning to remember.
That was a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
A Christmas miracle for Dad not to give the worst gift to Mom.
Yeah.
And you guys, Mom and Dad, you're coming to stay with me this Christmas. And Mackenzie, my wife's mother, Linda, is coming as well. And Mackenzie loves Christmas.
Yeah.
And she's so excited about Christmas morning. And then I had to tell her that the Steelers are playing this Christmas morning at 10 a.m. And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I texted that to you guys. And Dad, you wrote back, "It's Santa's best present ever." So we'll be watching the Steelers.
We'll be in New Mexico, so it's an 11 a.m. start for us. And again, the kids wake up when we go there at 5 in the morning just because of the time difference. So there'll be plenty of time to get Christmas done. But of course, the Ash family is not a turn on the TV for 3 hours family.
Right.
But I feel as though it's a must. And I have told the boys this is their one chance. I'm like, this is your chance to see if you can have the attention span to watch a full game.
Well, it's nice to just have football on Christmas, and you don't have to be fully focused on it. You can do other things. You can have conversations.
Unless it's the Steeler game.
Well, the issue though, and I do take that this, for some families, there's the strike against it, is the Ash family is a family of music, and they like to have music on.
Yeah.
And, and I appreciate for different strokes for different folks. And so if your thing is no, it's not, you don't want to listen to Christmas carols. You want to listen to football where, sort of every 5 minutes there's really loud commercials. Mm-hmm. So without the investment of caring about it, it's not as nice as I think we might find it.
And Mackenzie is a huge lover of Christmas, and we've been out there for a couple years now, and we really have a great experience. But I sent her a video from the stadium of the fans going crazy for Renegade.
Oh, yeah. Which they
And
play
I said,
between the third and fourth quarter at every Steeler home
This will
game.
be your new Christmas carol.
Yeah.
So just start listening to this, because this will be it on Christmas. Yeah.
Madeline writes, for Larry and Hillary, what careers did you think Seth and Josh would have growing up?
Jachy, I thought you might have been a veterinarian. You loved animals so much, and I thought that might have been yours. Seth, I thought a writer, because you would go off by yourself, and you were very happy in your own skin. And I was I thought if you hadn't gotten married when you were about 40, if you made it to 50 and still weren't married, I figured you never would, because you were very content in your, and
almost made it.
I don't think I ever. I always thought it would be something that had creativity involved in it. But I remember when you guys were really little, and we used to go to this really kind of bad miniature golf course in Michigan when we lived in Michigan. And you once said that when I grow up, I want to be an electric. And I said, what's an electric? And you said, an electric he's the guy that, puts all the wires together and makes the windmills spin around and all the stuff at the miniature golf courses. And you said, so you wanted to be an electrician, is I think what you meant to say. And then you said you wanted to design miniature golf courses. You were only about 5 when you
imagine if I had become a miniature golf course designer and was known worldwide as we have to get Josh Meyers in here.
But speaking of that, on a personal note, something that I thought I would always have liked to have done would be a guy that designed fountains.
Yeah.
That fountain in the Grove.
Oh, yeah.
And I always think about that when I go there with you guys. And I thought, because it's clever and everything else. And there's other fountains that are clever. And I thought, but that would have been a good thing to be. Some guy that designs fountains.
Not too late. Yeah.
This is
I can use the shower upstairs. I've got a big head start on the water thing.
You won't remember this, and I don't even know if I told you guys this, but your mother, who we only called Grandma.
Yeah, our dad's mother.
I remember once you guys were away, and we was in Michigan, and she was staying with us. and she was watching us. And I remember, I forget what Pasha and I were doing one morning at breakfast, but she said, I think when you two grow up, you're going to be podcasters. And I remember we were like, what do those fucking words even mean?
Yeah.
And,
She coined the term.
She coined the term. And she goes, we go, about what? And she goes, I think family trips. And I remember even at the age, I go, I don't know, I think and other stuff. And Pasha was like, no, just that.
And Joshua said, I think it'd be hard to keep people talking about that, especially if Seth would let them wander off into other directions.
Alana writes for Larry and Hillary, tell us about your memories of Seth and Josh going to proms or school dances, etc.
Ooh.
Oh,
Alana.
gosh.
Good
I
deep
think
cut.
the odd one, I don't think you ever went with girls that you were interested in. It turned out that you took like friends or I remember the time that you took Aaron Patrick and as an 8th grader maybe.
Yep, that sounds right.
And the back and forth on the phone with, I would say to Larry, who's he talking to? And Larry said, I don't know. He hasn't said a word. And you were trying to get this girl to go with, but you didn't have any moves. Let's put it that way. And then you went, the only one I can think of that actually was romantically involved with you, because you took a Detweiler one year and you weren't romantically involved with her.
That's just, I feel like, let's move on.
Yeah. But you took Allison Howard one year. That was
We were dating.
Yeah. And you gave her, I thought it was the oddest thing. You gave her a sunflower for a flower to the prom. And I thought, that's really lame, Josh.
Yeah, that's a miss.
Yeah, you can't really pin that on your dress.
No, those are big.
Those are really big.
Seth, Jamie asks, what are some things you purposely took or didn't take from your parents' parenting handbook?
What are things that I took and didn't take from...
Took or didn't take.
Right. Certainly took is how important it is to read to them at bedtime. And it has been really wonderful, the books that I remember exactly how I felt listening to you read Roald Dahl's BFG, and then to be listening to myself read it to my kids. That is really cool and special. And then... what I didn't take is, I remember you guys used to make us do a lot of, sweatshop work. Sweatshop work. And, and we had to give you the money. And I felt, looking back, I mean, did I teach me grit? Sure. But I don't think it was just the hours were so.
Brad wants to know, Larry and Hillary, do you guys like the Grand Canyon?
I've only flown over it. I've never been to it, but I definitely want to go.
Okay.
But
the height part kind of scares me.
Yeah, I don't want to hike to the bottom. And
you couldn't hike to the bottom.
Yeah, you can hike.
On foot.
Yeah, I have a bad foot. So that's going to be okay. Don't worry out there. I'll be fine. But I would definitely like to see it. I think it's one of the wonders of the world. Yeah.
We were in an elevator last night. It's Mount Washington is the neighborhood. Mount Washington's a neighborhood, very perched up on a hill, overlooking downtown Pittsburgh. And we were in an elevator going up to a restaurant, and Mom was not facing out the window that looks out over the city. And Seth told her, hey, hurry, turn around. And she turned around and got so scared. So I don't know how well you would do at the Grand Canyon.
I don't think it would be good for me.
I think it would be really bad for you.
Yeah. And if your startle reflex, because along with my startle reflex, I jump.
Yeah.
And if you're on the edge of the canyon and do that jump, that's not good.
I'd like to think that your jumping doesn't have a lot of forward locomotion.
Oh.
Yeah. Or that
I would think
would
when
let
you
you
go to
near
the
the
Grand
edge.
Canyon, you might have an expectation that it would be deep. So
Yeah. Since we're getting to the end, and I'm gonna have to write a song about this. Jill wants to know, for Larry and Hillary, what's your favorite song Pasha has done on the pod?
Oh, I was just telling you the other day, it was a Kristen Bell episode, Walking in Memphis, to that tune. But there's been so many good ones.
the Judy Greer one, we've just listened to that recently. That was very, very good. Oh, and the other one I liked was the Haim.
Oh, the Haim
the sisters were heard through the grapevine thing.
Yeah.
Because that was.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and then I met them. I met them in person, IRL, and they didn't know who I was. And then I introduced myself, and then we, spent probably a half hour chatting, and they just couldn't have been more lovely. So, yeah. Well, we got to wrap this up because we got to go to a Pittsburgh Steeler game. Everybody,
my heart's starting to pound already.
And I have to take a shower first.
Oh my goodness! Also, you're wearing a purple sweater right now, and we're playing the Ravens today.
Well, that's just for now.
Okay.
And one more time, we'd like to thank Airbnb for sponsoring this very special episode. We're very happy to have done it for a second time. And yes, it is very nice to do an episode of Family Trips with the entire family.
Yeah. And as far as Airbnb goes, for us to be able to get home, I've got a board game laid out on the dining room table for us to play later on tonight. The first morning I came down, Dad was sitting in the kitchen. He had coffee made. He was doing his puzzles. And it's just like being at home. And there's something about that.
I was the first up, which makes sense because, I have kids and obviously, I can't sleep in anymore. And it was just so nice this morning to, brew a pot of coffee and, eat my clams.
Oh, watch out for your tummy today.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go Steelers.
Here we go.
Airbnb.
Here we go.
Bye-bye.